people, and welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday night, and we are talking about the Senate impeachment proceedings. For those of you who are paying attention, there was a procedural vote that took place today. It was on the question of whether or not it is unconstitutional to convict someone in the Senate of and actually impeach someone who's already out of the presidency. Now, this is an interesting question because there's a reason, obviously, that Mitch McConnell adjourned the Senate while this impeachment proceeding was taking place. And it was precisely so that the Senate portion of this would not take place while Donald Trump was still president. But technically, impeachment only takes place in the House. Donald Trump was impeached while he was still president of the United States. That vote took place while he was still president. So the conviction is not a question of whether he was or he was not impeached as a civilian. He's already been impeached. He's been impeached dos veces. No, this is a question of whether or not we are going to hold him criminally liable and responsible for the things that he did. Now, 45 members of the GOP have decided that that's unconstitutional. I'm like, guys, first of all, that's not true. But second of all, what kind of machination is that where you intentionally do the thing, right, to adjourn the Senate so that you can intentionally avoid holding Donald Trump accountable, which begs the question, why are you so hard up on not holding Donald Trump accountable? Put a pin in that because I'm going to come back to it in a moment. But that vote was defeated, 55-45, so it is proceeding. On February 8th, we are going to start to have a trial. There'll be opening statements and so on. Now, another big kerfuffle that took place was that Senator Patrick Leahy, as President Pro Tem of the Senate, he is going to be presiding. The issue, of course, the right wing, crazy, was saying, oh, no, it has to be Justice Roberts. It has to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court like it was last time. The problem is that proceeding is only when it comes to convicting a sitting president. So guess what? They played themselves. The Republicans played themselves because Justice Roberts already demonstrated he was willing to allow a show trial, a total bastardization of the process. He didn't give a damn about the rule of law, doesn't give a damn about the Constitution. He allowed an absolute show trial to take place in the Senate at Mitch McConnell's behest. We can't trust Roberts as far as we can throw him when it comes to upholding the law. So, am I glad that he's not presiding? Oh, hell yes, I'm glad. And it is because Trump is not still in the presidency that Roberts is not presiding. And whose fault is that? Mitch McConnell. His decision to wait until he was out of the presidency to hold the trial means that he handed control of the trial over to Democrats. Isn't that wild? Now, Patrick Leahy is going to do the job that he's supposed to do. And that means that this is going to be way different than the last one. Remember when the House put on this immaculate case and the Republicans said, yeah, we know, we don't care, no evidence, no witnesses, we're just going to vote on party lines, we don't care, we know that he did all this stuff, it's not impeachable, we've decided it's fine because he's doing it and he's our guy and anything is fine when it's our guy and it's our mission, so we don't care. And it just went like that, right? But none of the actual trial took place. So the American people never got a sense of it. All of the witnesses decided to stonewall and were protected by the president in doing so. Whole new scenario is upon us now. Now, there will be witnesses. There will be evidence. There will be no protection for stonewalling, right? Everybody that's going to be subpoenaed to testify is going to testify. America's going to get a full chapter, verse, footnotes, references, video evidence. It's going to get text messages. It's going to get social media postings. It's going to get FBI, DOJ, police. It's going to get it all. And it's going to take place in real time with televisions in the room. It's going to be much watched TV. Now, in theory, this is a trial about Donald Trump, but in reality, this is going to be a trial of America's United States senators. They're the ones who are going to be put on trial. Because we're going to see what they see. And we're going to come to our own conclusions about what we see. And if we see them seeing what we see, and deciding that that's all fine, that's all okay, as long as it's done by their team. Trust and believe the American people are going to have some feelings about that. They're going to feel some kind of way about that. I think the Republicans are caught between a rock and a hard place. They're caught between Donald Trump's control of the base and the reality that 63% of Americans approve of Joe Biden, and that we believe what happened on January the 6th was an abomination. They're stuck. Because if they step out of line, Donald Trump has already threatened them. Now, by the way, as an aside, Donald Trump threatening members of the Senate to acquit him or he's going to come after them is a crime. Hello, we call this jury tampering. He did it before and he got away with it, which is why he's doing it now. Hopefully this time Nancy goes a little bit gangster and adds an article of impeachment for jury tampering and obstruction of justice. Because you're not supposed to be able to call up the people who are deciding your case and threaten them and their families. That ought to not be okay in American law. It's not if you're a mobster, and it sure the hell ain't if you're black. That's not okay. Trump got away with it in the Michael Cohen case. He got away with it in the first impeachment. Question, are we going to let him get away with it a second time? I don't know. I hope not. I hope DOJ, once Merrick Garland is confirmed, I hope DOJ handles this. I hope they actually prosecute him for tampering with the jury. Now, personally, I will say this. Personally, I don't believe that any member of the Senate who participated, aided, abetted, supported, incited, or approved of this insurrection ought to be on the jury deciding to convict Donald Trump, because that's not how our legal system works. We do not typically allow jurors who are participants in the crime. So if you drove the getaway car, you don't get to be on the jury that's convicting the robber. Nope. In fact, when we pick our juries, we are meticulous in establishing that they're not biased, right? Like, now granted, we can't establish that they're not biased, but can we at least establish that they're not co-conspirators? Like, can we at least establish that? So I sent a little note to Chuck Schumer today on Twitter, and I said, hey Chuck, here's an idea. Why don't you make it such that if during the course of the trial, substantial and credible evidence is presented that a member of the body participated, abetted, supported, lent service to, or assistance to the insurrection, that their vote will not be counted in the total for whether or not 2/3 voted to convict. Because they're obviously incapable of being unbiased. They have an irreparable conflict of interest. I don't know that Chuck is going to necessarily take me up on my offer, but he really should. Because I think there's quite a lot of precedents in our law about juries and how they are formed, and the fact that being a participant in the crime would be disqualifying for sitting on a jury. And that is functionally what the Senate is serving as in this role. The Senate is the jury that is hearing the case on whether or not Donald Trump should be impeached. And if those jurors participated in the crime, I have a hard time seeing how they're going to be unbiased. I would be worried if I were Rand Paul. I would be worried if I was Josh Hawley or Ted Cruz. And there may be others. I think Ron Johnson's got some explaining to do too. I'm not saying I know that they participated, so don't get your back up. I'm simply saying it's altogether possible that they did. And if they did, it might just come out in the trial. One never knows about these things because, see, the Republicans aren't going to be able to stop that evidence from being put on. The beautiful thing about this is that there's nothing they can do. The Democrats are just going to pull in all of the evidence, and one thing's going to lead to another. And if there's fingerprints of Ron Johnson all over it, oh well. If there's fingerprints of Ted Cruz all over it, oh well. If we see text messages back and forth between Lord Boebert and some of these people, or Matt Gaetz and some of these people, or Jim Jordan and some of these people, oh well, it's going to come out and it's going to be sworn testimony. And guess what? That's actionable. They play too damn much. They should have held a trial while Donald Trump was still president, because at least then he could have done something to tamp down the evidence. Now it's completely out of his hands. They played themselves. Their opportunity to slow the roll of this thing is gone. So it's going to go down. But I want you to pay attention. Don't pay attention to the evidence that's going to be presented against Donald Trump. You know what's going to be presented against Donald Trump. Pay attention to what the senators are doing in that circumstance, because they're going to have to explain to the American people who see with their own eyes and hear with their own ears what the evidence is. And they're going to have to convince the American people that that's all cool with them. And the only argument they have is why are we dealing with this? We got so much better things to do. Can't we just let go? It's so ununiting. It's so divisive. That's going to be fun. I cannot wait. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. I cannot wait. Because at the end of the day, the American people are going to be passing judgment on the senators as much as the senators are going to be passing judgment on Donald Trump. If you like what you just heard, you can find out so much more and hear so much more on my Patreon channel, patreon.com/Pam Keith FL. That's where you hear the rest of this discussion, and there's lots more to share.